Hello there, all you cool cats and kittens. I hope you're doing wonderful.
Yeah, anybody that can do high pressure sales, they're gonna have the capacity to sell staging, absolutely.
Yep, absolutely.
We created our brand, which means we created our logo, we created our website, we created that vision before we launched our business. We didn't have a clue what our brand was before we launched our business.
Hey everybody, Shell Brodnax here with another episode of Stager Talk, and I am so thrilled today because I have one of the best speakers out there. I've seen her before, I've seen her online, I've seen her in person, Christina Daves. How are you?
Hey, so good to see you. So excited to just start being with people and talking about all this and just getting back out there.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully this will be our last virtual event, but the good news is you're not an on-demand speaker. Not that that's bad because you can do those in your own time, but you are a live keynote speaker and we are super excited to hear you talk. We have got a lot going on at RESA this year, but your session is called PR to Profit, Creating Buzz in a Noisy World. So obviously we know that you are the PR expert. Why do we know this, people? I will tell you why she's the PR expert. Dr. Oz, Forbes, Fox, Steve Harvey, Show, NBC Today, The Washington Post, you name it. If it's a publication, she's probably been in it. So you got a lot to bring to the table. So let's talk a little bit just about your session in general. What can people expect to walk away with it?
So the big thing right now, and COVID hit, and we all across every industry had this oh crap moment. Like, I got to be online. People have to find me. And there was no strategy. There was nobody knew how to really stand out. And that's really what I've been working with people on for the last year and a half is, all right, you're online, but what are you doing? How are people going to stop and actually read your social media posts? How do you stand out? How do you engage? How do people find you? And we're going to talk about lots of things. The biggest part, of course, is the PR piece, because that's how you stand out. If you are quoted in the media, if you're on television, newspaper, print, podcasts, wherever your ideal clients are, which I guess 99% of the time are realtors, right? Because that's who hires the stagers, but you've got to be where they are. And I'm going to help you put yourself in front of them organically so that it's authentic, it's organic, and they're like, oh, I need to learn more.
Yep, absolutely. And you said, you need to be where they are. I always tell people you need to infiltrate, you need to party where they party, you need to hang out where they hang out. Get as much bang for your buck and get the most exposure that you can absolutely get. And in my experience, getting great PR has not been difficult. If you know a couple key things, we talked about one thing before when you're submitting a story idea, how fast do you have to catch somebody?
Right. So the thing you say you had 7 seconds to capture attention. I have heard, and I haven't found it, but I heard somebody say that Lululemon did a study and it's now 3 seconds. So let's say we've got 3 to 7 seconds, somewhere in between there. But right, if you don't stop the journalist in their tracks, they're going to miss it. And I'm also going to teach you how you follow up. I just did a training for a big group of real estate agents, and one of my agents, because I make them do it. And if you guys want to, I will challenge you right there on the spot to pitch the media. And he's like, yeah, I did it a couple of days ago, but I haven't heard anything. I said, well, did you follow up? I gave you a script. I told you exactly what to do. And he's like, no. So this really happens when you call. Yes, we're going to call the newsroom. And I've actually done trainings where I make them pick up and they're so nervous and they're like, oh yeah, just send the email here. They're so nice. But when you call and do that follow-up, I can't tell you how many times I've heard them say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you called back. I remember the story. I couldn't find it. They're not going to remember Christina Daves. They remember that story. They don't remember what my subject line was. So they'll flag it. I don't know how you guys are. I probably have 1,000 flagged emails oh, it's really important. That's how journalists are. So that follow-up phone call, and then they'll say, oh, send it to me right now so I can look at it.
Yeah. Another thing that I think a lot of people really overlook is responding to deadlines. journalists, they have deadlines for a reason, people. They got bosses and they need to get paid. So they have to submit what they're submitting by a certain date. And if you don't get it by their cutoff date, if they give you a cutoff of Wednesday at 3:00, you should be having it into them by 5 p.m. on Tuesday, the night before. Always be early. So if they did have a follow-up question, they have a little bit of a buffer time to be able to ask it of you.
And if you're really serious about this, if you really want to take your staging business to the next level through media, you have to do that and you have to be available. I've gotten calls at 6:00 that said, Christina, we've got the story idea. Can you be in the television studio at 7 a.m.? Yeah, yes, I can. It's like, oh crap, what am I going to wear? Get my stuff together. It's a 2-hour drive because I'm going to be, in DC metro traffic, rush hour traffic. But yes, because when you become that person, when you submit at 5:00 the day before, it's due at 3:00, they start to realize you are really valuable to them and that they know they can count on you. And that's so important with the journalists because they are on deadlines. So if they have this deadline where, oh, wow, and they had heard from another news anchor at the station that I was that person. If you call Christina, if she's in town, she'll be here. No question. You want to be that resource for a journalist. And I'm going to explain all that and really show you how to do that because they will take you into their tribe. My phone is full of journalists that I could text at any time because I am that person.
Yeah. I've got a few contacts in my own. I used to call it a Rolodex, but
yeah, I still do.
We're old school. A Rolodex. I actually have from very early on in my career, I actually still have a
Rolodex
address book. An actual address book. I think I might actually have the Rolodex someplace, but I knew it. I was a private investigator. So it was my little beige book. So I had every contact in the world that would give me just oodles of information about anything I wanted. It was fantastic. But you got to have your resources. You're totally right about that for sure.
You do. And you build that relationship. And that's what I'm going to teach you all too, is how you do that. And it's not hard. It is not hard at all. And once you start to build that and you're good, when you bring it to the table and you bring your A game, they will love you. And this is how you stand out. When you are that person who's in the media and you can go to that real estate agent or company, or even if it's a, private seller who needs a home stage, when you show them that, you up level your authority and your credibility more so than anyone else in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in today's market, there's the real estate market in general. What are people talking about online, on the news, besides the regular political current events? It's real estate. It's the housing market. It is the perfect time. All those morning shows that everybody has, Good Morning Sacramento, or, Good Morning Greenville, South Carolina. Pitching those shows to be able to get on is awesome. But here's the key. What I found in pitching, and of course, you're going to be the expert, so you will correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you will. But journalists and whatnot, they want stories that are of interest to their viewers. So just because if it's, hey, I bought some furniture this weekend or something for my staging business, that's not what you're going to go on about. Even if you're going to go on as the local real estate expert, put yourself as the expert, put it on your website, do a speaker page, do an expert page, pump yourself up on your website. So when you pitch your ideas, when they look you up, they see who you are and what you're about. So when you are ready to appear on that morning show, you will be known as that expert.
Right. And you brought up a great point, and it's something I'm going to talk about. I'm going to share like a super cool example. I don't want to ruin it yet, but you as a stager really can position yourself as a real estate expert too, because you know what's going on in the market. You know how many homes you're staging. You know how fast you got to get your furniture back out of there. You know how fast. So you have a huge opportunity to be not only staging expert, but also a real estate expert. And I will share stories where the media has used a stager instead of a realtor because that stager jumped on the opportunity and how they tweak the story. But tune in to see. I'm not going to tell you yet.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, a lot of stagers will say, well, I'm not interesting, or what am I going to talk about? Well, real estate, number one, because set yourself as the expert. In addition, a lot of lifestyle pieces stagers can participate in as well. So If they're, they may have something, if you're doing short-term rentals, submit for that. Any type of other lifestyle things, any DIY project-based things that you're really, really good at, you can submit as well. And then you get ancillary exposure for something that might not be your main source of what it is that you do. It might be, an ancillary extra piece of your business, but you can still get the exposure for it and also get on as well. And you're also versatile at that point.
Every year they come out with the color of the year, whatever that is. Use your expertise and talk about how you can transform a room under $50 to bring in the color of the year. So maybe it's, some pillows, a throw, a vase with flowers, where you can, purchase something like this. Be the expert, be the all things, but you have to, and we're going to talk about this a lot at RESACon, I need you to think outside of the box. I need to think of yourself as more than just, like you said, my warehouse full of furniture that I put into a home. You're so much more than that. I've worked with so many stagers, and I keep telling them, I want to go for a day. I just want to go for a day when they're decorating the homes and just see how this works. Because you all are amazing at what you do, but go a little further out and beyond a stager. You're an interior designer, you're a color expert, a style expert. You said DIY, anything that you can help people. You're staging homes for sale, but any of that can be done in a normal home. And think about the audience of those morning shows. I'm on Good Morning Washington all the time. Those are 30 to 40-year-old moms, women, usually stay at home. Those are the people who want to learn these things. And when you said value to the audience, that is absolute key. Everybody wants an expose on 60 Minutes. None of us are going to get it. It's not going to happen, but we get just as much benefit by being this expert. But you've got to expand your horizons from just, I'm just a home stager. I just decorate homes to sell them. No, you were so much more than that. More.
Yeah. In addition, most of your local clients don't live in Nationalville. So 60 Minutes isn't going to really get your demographic. They live in Localville. So if you're going to your local media, that is what's key. I remember back in the day when we used to submit press releases through a fax machine. Remember that? Remember before Google, how we used to do things? You can still call the newsroom, but when I used to teach people of what and how to do things, it was, you got to call the news station. You got to ask for the newsroom fax room. And, how do they accept their press releases? How do they pitch their story ideas? And you have to, send it all in there through written form that way. And it's so much easier these days, even locating the right people, even if you don't go through newsrooms, but you pitch your idea to the reporter that covers the real estate section in your local newspaper, things like that, and reaching out to them directly. And again, trying to build that relationship. Sometimes it can be hard building that relationship, but if you can get that person, if you can get that journalist in your camp one time and you hit it out of the park, they're yours forever. They want reliable people.
Shell, that is the key. When you get that opportunity, and we'll talk about this so much more too, don't blow it. My first time on Good Morning Washington, and I wanted this gig. Like, I really wanted to be on there consistently. And I recorded and I watched similar segments. I saw how they did it. I practiced, I memorized, like, it was so good. The minute I was done, the producer came out and he said, "You just blew us away. The control room loves you. You come back anytime." Anytime. And this is what happens, you guys. This is when you're good and you provide value. And I've provided other stories that aren't related to me that I know would be a great fit. So I've given them other great segments, but I just got an email. He just got a national show that's airing on ABC between Kelly and Ryan and The View. And he's like, "Give me all your ideas. I want you to be a regular on this." And I'm like, but this awesome. Is what happens. And I'm just like you. I had an idea, but when you get it, and you will get the opportunity, prepare, pretty please. Like, make sure that you know where you're going, that you knock it out of the park, because then it's easy. Then you get phone numbers and text me your ideas. This is how you build that relationship.
Yep. And something else that I noticed, we only have a couple more minutes, but we'll hone in on this last part, because so many people, women primarily, but it happens to everybody, but let's just talk about the women. Imposter syndrome. So it's like, I can't do that. I couldn't possibly put it out there. who's going to this? Why would they me? I shouldn't do this. Oh, they're looking at me. They're looking at me. And it's like, they don't know that you feel that way on the inside. So you want to feel that way? You do you, boo. You can feel that way all you want. Just take the action because they don't know it. And chances are, if you can get through that and you become that expert and you promote that on your website, you're going to become this person. And, but I think imposter syndrome hold people back from even making the first step. And that's the thing, is that if you want to compete in anything, you can't compete unless you join, unless you fill out the registration form, unless you show up, unless you pay your entry fee. So dig in, people, because you can get PR. So do you have just one or two tips that you can get people over that fence with the imposter syndrome and the resistance?
So number one, the media needs experts. They're going to use somebody. And I was just on a training call. I train once a month for this big real estate group. And one of the agents came on. She goes, "Oh my gosh, Christina, you're right." She's like, "There is this buffoon in our community who's always in the media, and it makes me crazy." And I said, "That's right, because he figured it out. He's not that he just figured it out, but he does. He's doing it." Yeah. You guys have to realize, do the Brene Brown if you need to, whatever it is. You are good at what you do. You wouldn't be doing the work you do. You wouldn't be putting videos out. You wouldn't be talking to clients the way you do. This is what I was saying. I'm not asking you to pitch the media something that you have no idea what you're talking about. You're brilliant at what you do. Own it. You need to own it. You need to take advantage of this great opportunity that media is. And don't be afraid. So many people are afraid of journalists. Listen, they are. And I just did a blog post about this. These journalists are just like us. They were just in the last year, stay-at-home moms, teaching from home, trying to do their jobs, wearing masks, going to the grocery store, not seeing friends, not seeing family. They are no different than any of us. They're doing their jobs. Help them do their jobs, make it easier for them. They will love you. This is how easy this is. I promise. And guess what? I did it. I'm not a publicist. I want everyone to know that. And you'll learn so much more about me at RESACon. I just learned how to do it, and I got really good at it. And now I share with people how to do it.
Yep. I love it. Tell everybody where they can learn more about you. What's your website?
Yeah. I always say, if you can't find me online, we're all in really big trouble.
Then you're in real trouble. If you can't use the Google and find Christina Daves, there's
Christina
something
Daves.
Not correct.
Type that in, you should find me. But yeah, feel free, reach out. I'm super easy to connect with.
Awesome. So it's prforanyone.com.
Yeah, or ChristinaDaves.com.
Or ChristinaDaves.com. And I'm sure on your socials, probably your name.
Or Christina Daves.
There you go. All right, everybody, you heard it here first. This is the year you want to get some PR and up your game. You better be at RESACon and listen to Christina Daves, because she's going to solve all your world problems in just 90 minutes. So without further ado, Christina, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Everybody else, if you did not get your ticket for RESACon, get it today, because prices do go up closer we get to the event. So it is September 30th and October 1st. Until next time, everybody, happy staging. Thank you. Bye.